Namaste. Welcome to Championing Change podcast. Today we have our guest Bhagyashree Lodha from Mumbai. She has a more than decade of experience in helping NGOs to raise funding. And she also worked with hundreds of corporates in bridging between NGOs and corporates. So it will be a great opportunity for us to hear her and get inspired to all of our audience, especially NGOs and social startups. So thank you so much, Bhagyashree, being with us as our special guest today,
Thank you.
and traveling all the way from Mumbai and being part of this podcast.
Pleasure
Right?
is all mine.
Yeah. And you have more than a decade of experience in helping the NGOs, which is one of the big pain point. And you have the good experience in that. I think our audience will greatly benefit today. So before we go into the discussions, can you brief a little bit about yourself?
I actually started my journey working with NGOs to understand in terms of how an organization function. So I've worked with different departments to understand how each and every department contributes to the growth of any organization. And over the years, and I've also worked with a startup as a core team member where we were building a crowdfunding platform to help organization in raising funds for them through CSR, HNI institution, do in-kind support, and also spread kindness in general. And that's where I got to know, I've realized that over the years, especially in pandemic, that there are quite a few organizations who are doing great work at the grassroots.
Right.
But because of lack of resources, because lack of guidance or mentorship, or just lack of awareness, they're not being able to scale the impact that they are, they could have done it otherwise. So with that, I've started writing, helping a lot of grassroots organizations write proposals for them to apply for NSDC, NABARD, international grants and applications. And then I thought maybe with all these experience that I've had, not very great experiences and not an expert in fundraising, but I thought let's just try my hands in helping these organizations in raising funds for them. I started as a consultant, and then I realized that there is a lot of need, and then we thought that let's just start a consulting firm where we grow bigger, have a more team, more people in our organization who also understands this pain point. And that's where we are helping right now a lot of organization in raising funds for them. And also we work with corporates to find implementation partners for them. So we actually act as a bridge between the corporates, the funders, and the organization.
Very good to hear about your journey. I think you have a good experience both working with NGOs and the corporates.
Yeah.
See, this subject of fundraising is very, very important, but very difficult task, both for small NGO or even big NGO also.
Absolutely.
Right? Funding is one of the biggest pain point.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what are the major reasons why NGOs are failing in raising funding?
To begin with, to understand that there are a lot of organizations get stuck because they only rely on one or two funders that they have. They do not diversify. If you're getting a CSR funding, they'll be just relying on the corporate funding that they have. What if after 2 years, 3 years they withdraw funding, or they may not have that kind of funding to support as an organization to you. So over the years, what I've realized is depending on only couple of sources of funding would be a little challenging for these organizations to sustain. And because of that, they're not being able to build their corpus, then they're not being able to do the capacity building of the organization. And there's always a lot of stress and tension. How do we keep our organization growing, and how do we keep on doing the impact that we are doing on the ground?
Can you give us idea, because as you said, they're getting stuck with one or two type of source of funding.
Yeah.
But there are many.
Yes.
Can you give examples of what are the different type of funding opportunities that are available for NGOs and how they can connect with them?
So to begin with, India itself, so if we look at philanthropy in general, we never talk about the scope that philanthropy has in general. And CSR has just been over a decade again, that come into as a mandate that corporates have to give funding. But if we look at global philanthropy, in general, it is over $1.3 trillion of money that is coming and going for philanthropy. And in India itself, it is again 1.2 billion, you know, philanthropic money that is going for, and that is various sources of it. So coming back to the source, there are HNIs, there are institutions who are funding, there are foundations who are funding, there are a lot of corporates who have set up their own foundation through which they are funding. There are family foundations, which means family who have made it to a level where they would want to give back.
Right.
HNIs, high net individuals. There is retail funding where, you know, individual, even if they do not have the capacity to give you lakhs of rupees, but as part of doing good, they would want to do something. So that also become part of giving. Corporate is one. Volunteering has become a new source of funding as well. Crowdfunding is a source again where you know, as an organization can raise a lot of money. And then digitally, you also kind of create campaigns where you say that, you know, these are the few of our offerings, and as part of that, you can, you know, support us. So these are a few ways of raising funds.
There are plenty.
Yes.
Right, at least 10 different type of funding
Absolutely.
opportunities, and as you said, many NGOs are stuck with 1, 2 or 3. If you can explore all these opportunities, definitely your funding sustainability will be.
Yeah, I would say depending on at what scale these organizations are. Like, for example, if you have just started, then for you, okay, if you have a promise from any funder saying that they'll support you for 3 years, then don't just rely on them. Look for other also. Like, if you have an individual who's saying that we'll give you 50 lakhs for 3 years, look for a CSR grant, because not for CSR grant, because CSR will give you money only after 3 years of your existence. So look for other institutions who are, you know, who would be willing to support your capacity building, or look at, you know, support your corpus. So do that. There are a lot of grants which are available. Apply for RFPs. So that's where you kind of grow, and then eventually where you are at a level where you can hire resources, then it is better to kind of, you know, put a team in. Maybe some is looking only at corporate funding, some is only looking at volunteering, someone is only looking at, so that also depends on at what scale are you in terms of having a resource to help you with all these fundraising avenues.
Do you recommend any specific type of funding opportunity for different type of NGOs or different level of NGOs? Like, you know, if you're a small NGO, you can look at this type of funding, or if you're a big NGO, look at this kind of thing. Is there any experience that you can talk about?
So there isn't a set framework for it. It also depends in terms of what the organization is also expecting and what is their goal and objective. Like, for example, if an organization is saying that we are working in education and we are working into rural part of the country where, you know, there is not even access to a proper infrastructure where students can go and sit in a class, right? They do not have a class, like 4 walls to sit and have a classroom set up. So for that, it is, you know, for them, the funding strategy would be different. So here the strategy that we talk about comes into picture, where the leader of the organization, the senior management committee would want to, I would suggest, to sit down and work on a strategy in terms of what are your 5-year plans, right? What is the target beneficiary that you want to target? What is the number that you would want to achieve? And do you have enough incoming of funds for that? And based on that, you can see as in terms of what is the funding that is you want, and what are the avenues that you could tap into. So that all depends on how you want your organization to grow. Some are really happy with, I keep on getting inquiries and interest from NGOs. They say that we are happy with 1 crore, 1.5 crores, from past 3 years, 5 years, they're working on it. And we are very happy and satisfied because they want to stay in that community. They do not want to scale. And then somebody will be very aggressive in terms of, they want to make it to 4 crores, 5 crores and 10 crores in next 3 years. So then for them, the strategy would be completely different. Then you just can't say that, okay, you've reached here, now this is what you will have to look into it. It all depends on what the management of that organization also expects. And also if the funder is willing to support in those aspirational goals that you have for yourself.
Good. So you said multiple options.
Yes.
I think each type of donor, corporate, international, foreign donors, HNIs, philanthropy. Each one will have different criteria, different approaches, different
Absolutely.
priorities.
Yeah.
Can you enlighten what type of programs will be attractive to what type of donors, especially individuals? What type of programs they will like it, going into crowdfunding, right? What type of programs will be more saleable at online platforms like crowdfunding, and what type of programs will be more saleable to bigger donors?
So, see, with HNIs, the strategy is completely different. Because as an HNI, I do not have a mandate to give money. Like a corporate has a mandate to give 2% as part of their CSR mandate, right? So as an HNI, you will have to tap into in terms of what is their emotional pain point.
Yeah.
Like for example, recently we were helping an organization to develop their fundraising strategy, and they were saying that we work in education, and that too in Odisha, Jharkhand,
Right.
some very tribal part of on the
Remote
borders,
areas.
yeah, on the borders of these states. And I was like, okay. And then they said that we would want to, as part of our fundraising strategy, we want to target HNIs. So for that, you will have to target those HNIs who either are from that community, who have understood or been through that pain, that they're not being able, in their childhood days, they didn't get the access, but they've came out of it. So you'll have to see local people who have made out of that life and have made something for themselves. So eventually you will target those kind of people for HNI.
Right.
And then, because it is close to your heart, so like for example, women empowerment is very close to my heart. And if somebody says that you're working with the women and we are making sure that they will earn at least 25,000 per month, and I would like, okay, this is something very close to my heart, and I would want to participate and be part of this change, because it is very close to my heart. It is an emotional part. Human in general are very emotional. So I always say that fundraising is also not about sales. It's also about understanding human psychology. How good are you in terms of storytelling? How good are you in understanding the other person? How good are you in communicating? Like right now, we are speaking, right? So we need to understand what kind of language you understand. Both of us are communicating in English. Both of us are, discussing something that we both understand.
Right.
Social impact in general, funding. So that is the language you have to choose for different kind of donors. HNI has a different communication skill that you'll have
Right.
to have. With corporates, the funding strategy and the pitch would be different.
Right.
So you'll have to understand and read about what is their corporate mandate is, what is their CSR policy is, and what are the thematics that they are supporting, what are the geographies that. You can't just randomly go to a corporate and ask them that, we would want you to support a project in education, whereas they are completely working with maybe some, traffic police, or, some
Right.
military veterans, all of it. So it is completely two different thematics that you are suggesting. So it will just fall. So that's where we keep on saying all these NGOs and organizations who are raising funds, that you need to have a strategy, which means you need to know your funders, irrespective of who they are, right?
Right.
Tomorrow, if an international grant is out, you will see with all these big grants, I'll not take names, but there are at least 10 pages of instruction which is given. And a lot of organization would not read it.
Right.
They'll just say education and they'll just randomly apply it, right? And because it is not customized according to what they are expecting, right? What are their terms and conditions? What are their eligibility criteria? And then
Right.
they'll complain, and say that we've applied to so many grants, but we're not getting it. Are you reading what the grant is actually looking at?
Right.
So that is also very important, to sit down and see, okay, these are the 15 grants that we would want to apply, these are the 15 donors that we would want to apply, these are the HNIs that we would want to apply, irrespective of, even if you're looking out for international donors, for them also the story is same.
Yeah.
If you're reaching out to an international couple, like recently we've helped an organization to get funding from an HNI from abroad. And this HNI had lost their child to thalassemia.
Oh.
And this organization is also working in health. So I said that there is a perfect match. They're working in health, and they've lost their child in thalassemia. Now, it is up to us in terms of how do we design this narrative in terms of, you've lost your child. It should not be,
Yeah.
very traumatic to, when I'm speaking to you, it should not bring in trauma. It should bring a smile to your face, saying that, we are working in health, and this is the impact that we've created in so and so location. Would you be interested in supporting? Right? So that's where I will feel like, okay, I couldn't help, I couldn't save my child, but what if 10,000 children couldn't get benefit out of
Right.
it? So that is the power of storytelling and
yeah.
narrative. It should come out of, it should spark in your eyes when you talk
Right,
about
yeah.
it. So
I think what you said is right. When you're dealing with individual donors,
yeah,
it's connecting to emotions.
yes,
Dealing with institutional donors, emotions plus their policies.
yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you connect that, it will be a good opportunity. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
That's
You
right
need to
there.
know the other person. Always think of it as a relationship you are into. You always you'll try and know the other person before you commit to anything, right?
Right.
So give that time, give that energy, give that, what do you call it, a vibe that we say that the vibe isn't matching. So think of it that a lot of NGOs eventually realize that, they're not happy with their current funders. And because they've strengthened themselves so much, they are now saying no to the funders also.
Right.
Because they see that, the long-term vision that they have, created for their organization is not working for them. And that's where they are saying no, which is perfectly fine. If you are in a relationship, or if you're in, friends with anyone, and you see that, both of you are not, agreeing to travel together or
Right.
work parallelly, it is not going to work, right? So depending on what the other person wants and what would make you also happy is something that we get into a friendship or a relationship. So yeah.
Yeah. See, before you came, I was watching your videos, right? And I heard one thing that you said, for NGOs, if
Yeah.
they really want funding, right? You used one thing, right? You have to be findable to be fundable,
Yeah.
right? I liked it. Can you explain what is the importance of findable? Or
Understood.
how NGOs can be a findable NGO?
So actually, this is something that social sector has always struggled, and this term has actually come out from a fundraiser himself, which is an international fundraiser, Mr. Kevin. Um, he talks a lot about, fundable and findable, and it's just that in social impact space, we've always been very hesitant to talk about the work that we are doing. We always shy away. In Hindi there is there is this thing where we say कि एक हाथ से देते हैं तो दूसरे हाथ को पता नहीं चलना चाहिए कि हमने दिया है.
Yeah.
Whereas, which is fine, right? But here it is not about giving. Here it is talking about the impact that you're creating. There is a thin line between to just promote or brag about what you're doing and to kind of talk about what you're doing. So if you think of it as, creating awareness or educating the other person about it, you will not think of it as marketing or just doing a PR for your organization. And I would suggest if you're doing a PR or marketing, you are creating impact at the end of the day, right? So it is very important that you talk about it. And there are various ways of talking about it. Start from talking about the work that you're doing in your circle itself. A lot of organization or the heads of these organizations, they're very passionate
Right.
about what they're doing. But they themselves would not want to talk about with their friends, with their relatives, because they think very less of themselves, saying that, क्या कर रहे हो आप, donation ही तो मांग रहे हो, right? So with that, they would not want to talk about it. But if we think of it as an other way around, where we'll say, okay, I'm working on education, and in education there is a specific thing that we are working on, which means we are teaching these students the latest skills with that, so that whenever they are going out of this community or whether they are going to college, they would already know about it. Like, for
Right.
example, AI for now, robotics, all those, practical science, all of those. And then, there are some NGOs who are working, developing skills like cooking, pottery, carpentry, all of this. So they're training all these students to be prepared for the real world, right? And when you talk about, like, for example, this is my NGO and you're my friend and we have met, and I'll speak to you and you'll be like, oh, is this also a skill that is, oh,
Right,
you're
required.
teaching pottery also to a 6-year-old. So that will be an education for you, right? And it will be an awareness. And then you will talk about it. Because you're amazed by the work that I'm doing, you will speak to 5 other people. Oh, I met Bhagyashree the other day and she's doing, she's teaching pottery to 5-year-old.
Right.
How cool is that? How, important is that? And that's where it replicates, right? And a lot of it comes out of the energy. Because you started talking about it because you're very happy and
Right.
you're very proud of the work that I'm doing. And then there's social media. Everybody is on social media right now. It is how you put out yourself. I always tell all the NGO founders, start talking about the work that you're doing on LinkedIn. Do not shy about it. So LinkedIn is one great platform. There is a lot of marketing, digital promotion that happens, use of all Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So all these platforms could be used. They're there to create impact, right? It's not just for entertainment, it's for education.
Visibility.
Yes, it's for education, it's for creating awareness, because people do not even know that thalassemia could be very dangerous, or could be just adding one extra test to the blood test of a mother could save the life of the mother and the child also. So that is so simple, and we as society in general do not know about, because nobody talks about it unless you've experienced it in your community.
Right.
So that is the kind of impact that you create when you talk about it. And that's where you'll attract people who would want to support you, be it in terms of they would want to volunteer with you, or they would want to suggest you to somebody who can support or give money. That's where the retail fundraising comes in, and that's where HNI could be connected, because you've started talking about it, right? That's where you attract more volunteers, and volunteers are your best free ambassador, free marketing and free PR that they could do for your organization. And I think we should stop shying away from the work that we do. Think of it as you're educating or creating awareness.
How important it is for an NGO? Generally, big companies or business people look at branding, right? For NGO, is it important to invest and do branding, or not required?
So see, it also depends in terms of what are your partners expect. So you do branding for yourself, which means now branding in itself is a definition where we say that, okay, do you have a good website? Do you have a logo? Do you have brand colors? Are you following all of it? So that is what branding is all about. And as a corporate partner, they would want you to have a branding of yourself, and they would also want a branding of themselves when both of you are collaborating.
Right.
So that is good to have, but that is not a make or break deal. But for corporates, yes, because obviously they would want to promote the work that they're doing, and for whatever reasons, it is good to have branding. In general, you do not have to have a specific resource to it. You can always outsource it to some agency and ask for a consultant to help you with that.
Yeah. So until now we discussed about different funding opportunities, how to work all those things. Generally, when we see in the NGO sector, you have two types of NGOs: traditional NGO and then modern NGO by younger generation people. Traditional NGOs, which are like 20 years, 30 years by experienced people, are still struggling to raise funding compared to the young generation people. What could be the reason why the young generation, new modern NGOs are easily able to convince the donors compared to the traditional people?
Here, I think what I have experienced, and as per my experience, it is more related to flexibility. Now, flexibility means in terms of, are we even aware of that we need to upgrade ourselves? And if we are aware, are we doing it? Like, for example, you as an organization who is 25 years old and you're still using the same methodology, you're using the same curriculum in your community to train your beneficiaries, but the world is changed. Like, you're 25 years behind. The world has changed. The skills that the world is expecting your beneficiaries to have has changed, but you yourself has not modified it, right? You have not upgraded it. So then it is going to hamper your growth also. And the mentality and the mindset is also, you do not educate yourself in terms of what is happening in the sector. You're not flexible in terms of learning, right? As in, what has new policies that has come in. You are not open to have help where you will say, okay, we are doing great work, funds will come in. That does not happen. That does not happen. The world has grown. There are a lot of organizations who are doing work. So if you do not talk about it, you will not get funding. Just getting stuck there will be a problem. So flexibility is one point where, and the modern NGOs, by we mean modern NGOs, the ones which are coming right now, like in past 10 years, 5-10 years, they know that we'll have to change with what the donors expect. We'll have to change with what is the need of the community. We'll have to change in the way that we are reaching out to the community, right? The traditional ways of mobilization also doesn't work. So there are various ways of even mobilization you do the community. They are open to hire help. They'll say, okay, if we want to grow at certain point, we will need help. Even if they have resources, they'll hire full-time resource, or if not, they'll hire a consulting firm. But with the older organization, they are still hesitant. They will have a little trust concern ki, whether this consultant will be able to do it or not. Until unless you try, you'll never know, right? So that is where is something that the learning attitude is a thing where they would not want to invest in learning. Even if today you have a webinar organized and you charge for it, they'll not would want to pay it. Or even if it is for free, they would not want to join. They're like, okay, we know this. We all know what is the program. We all know, but if we are doing great work, funds will automatically come in. So that is also the problem.
Good. So what do you think are the major misconceptions or mistakes that NGOs do while approaching for funding or in their fundraising approaches?
Very important, not knowing your funders well. It is, as we've discussed it in detail also, you need to know your funder really well. Just applying randomly, you can sit down today and send out 100 emails and with the same proposals to everyone, right? Be it corporate or apply for all RFPs, grants, or HNIs. Just you have mail IDs of all these 1,000 mail ID, and you send it all your proposal and concept note to all of them. It will not click, right? One, it will land into their spam. Two, it will get neglected because a funder, like in the scenario of CSR, I would say, they're getting hundreds of emails every day. I'm talking about every day they get applications or proposals saying that, we are doing this and this work in that locality and we would want your support. So that is very generic email, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to grab an attention of any funder, first you'll have to do a lot of research. Try and understand in terms of what that funder, what language is the funder, speaks. And then what is something that what interests them. And what is the kind of funder that you're reaching out to. Like we discussed, for HNI, the story is completely different.
Right.
How you speak to them is completely different. For corporates, the storyline is completely different. And always when you meet somebody, how good impression are you creating? That always stays with that person. So it is very important to know your donor, to know, if it is a corporate, what is the, interest of the corporate also really well. So that makes a huge difference, which I think a lot of NGOs are not being able to make it. They think like, if we work on quantity, we will get quality. No, if you want quality, if you want conversion, then you'll have to work on quality.
Right.
Otherwise, you will keep on sending emails, and then at the end of the day we burn out saying we've sent so many emails and proposals, but we're not getting any funding, not response from any of them.
Thank you for all the sharing about the different funding opportunities, the pain points of the NGOs, all those things. So it's going to be a ever-ending problem. right? And it's very essential to overcome this one. Otherwise, sustainability of any NGO will be missing. So as we discussed, I think, we need to have different aspects. Like, for example, this fundraising strategy,
Yeah.
team, and the team building, capacity building, right? All these three are very essential. So can you give some suggestions to our audience how strategy need to be built, how team need to be built, and how capacity building to be done?
So first of all, it is not a one person's game, right? If you are heading an organization, you yourself cannot design the strategy for the entire organization. You'll have to make sure that your entire team aligns with what you're thinking.
The management team.
Yes, management team, and also who are helping you with fundraising and program. They need to be in confidence that the organization is going to grow so big. They need to be prepared, right? So they need to be part of it. I've seen a lot of organization, what they've done is they've just bring in their C-suite people and design their fundraising strategy and given it to all their the fundraising people that this is what we want to raise and you start raising funds. They are all lost. They don't know what is happening. Now suddenly they have you given them target saying you have to raise 5 crores a year and this is what. No background, nothing. So first of all, you have to make sure that you bring your entire team together, have a meeting or have a one day get together or a workshop with them. Try and understand what are their challenges been, right? Bring in your field team also, so that they also know that we are going to expand and this is how our organization is going to grow.
Right.
And when they feel involved in all these decisions, they themselves take ownership and be proud of it, and they would want to perform better and work better because they know that they'll be part of an organization which is going to go to 100 crores or 150 crores, and everybody will be talking about them. So that is very important.
So you mean to say fundraising strategy must align to strategic planning of the organization?
Exactly. Strategy planning of the entire organization, where the entire organization need to be part of it.
Right.
So even if you've designed, as in, if you do not want the entire team to be part of it in the discussion, because then there's a lot of ideas and suggestion, you yourself, as in, the senior people can work on it, then discuss it with your team. Do not just, tell them that this is what we expect you to do. Discuss it, and this is what we've thinking for your organization. This is what we are expecting because we've been doing great work, and funders are interested in supporting us. So that's where everything comes in. Where you're talking about capacity building, right? So now the team will come to you and say, okay, this is what we are expecting for our organization. We want to go to 50 crores. And so because of that, we'll need so and so skills. And that's where you as a founder of the organization would know that these are the skills that my team need to have because they are asking for it, right? And when they ask for it, they take ownership.
Right.
Okay, because I want to become better at writing proposals, because we'll apply for RFPs, grants, and we'll reach out to international funders. And then then you know what kind of capacity you need to build, whom you have to invite for that, what kind of funding you need for capacity building. And then you'll also understand whether your team is ready to do that. So if you're saying that I want to raise 100 crores, is your team ready to raise 100 crores? If not, but you still feel that you need 100 crores for next 5 years as part of your budget should look like that, then you need to hire right people.
Yeah.
Right? Which will also align with what you are expecting. So everything goes hand to hand, like it's all connecting. It cannot work in silos, that you've worked, design strategy, you've given targets, you do not, involve your team and the same team is working on everything, it will be a chaos. So that is very important. And there's also very important when we talk about diversification of funds. So how easy and flexible we make it for our funders is also important.
Right.
Like for example, if you are talking about retail fundraising, like individuals who just want to give, right? So for them, you'll have to create a model, or you'll have to design your program in such a way that they could be part of it. You just can't go to them and ask for 25 lakh rupees, right? Because they themselves may not be earning it, but they still want to give. So you'll have to give them the opportunity to be part of the change that you're creating. So create projects, like for example, if there is a midday meal project, right, midday meal program that you're running, say that, if you support, if you give 5,000 rupees, you'll be able to support 10 students, 10 children's meal for a year. So for me, I'll be like, okay, with only 5,000 rupees, I'll be able to give meals to 10 children a year, right? So you have helped me to be part of the change that you're creating. Similarly, with HNIs also goes the same. You'll have to create a program and be flexible enough again to customize the program in terms of which aligns with what they're also looking at change. They may think that, we do not think that that location needs a certain this thing. So if you think that community needs that intervention, you'll support it with a baseline survey, a discussion with the community, and then you bring your study to them. Then they would want to support. If not, then what is something that they're expecting? Can we customize the entire program together? So you need to have that flexibility. With corporates also, you say that we need to raise 100 crores, so you just can't push that burden to that one corporate, right? Because you have design your strategy saying that, this is 100 crores is our goal. So that's where you'll have to be flexible with the corporate also in terms of what the corporate would want to do, whether they would want to do a pilot. So be flexible. And that is also when we are discussing about modern and traditional organization. Some organization would be very reluctant in terms of getting that funding. 50 lakhs won't suffice because this is what our program looks like and we'll not be able to work on that budget. So they'll clearly say no. But some will be flexible enough. So they will even be like, let's just start with a pilot and test each other out, whether we'll be able to work together or no. Right? So that is how you also, when you're designing your fundraising strategy, and you're creating that, we'll reach out to HNIs, corporates, we'll apply for grants, you'll have to be also flexible in terms of how are you going to design your program, where there is some tweaking which is required, right? Or target beneficiaries could be changed, locality or community could be changed. So are we okay to do that? If not, if you're very restricted to that community, that project, then you can just stay stuck with the existing funder that you have, and maybe tomorrow they'll just withdraw if they do not have funding. So
good. Yeah, thank you for all the sharing. The entire discussion very clearly says for NGOs, those who are struggling, not to worry. There is enough funding, diversified funding,
absolutely,
right? And then we will be able to get it, provided we have a good strategy, a good team, and we need to invest in the team and the strategy.
Exactly.
If we have these things, we will be able to get it. I think it's a very good learning, right? And thank you for being with us and sharing all your experience. Definitely, it's very inspiring. It encourages the NGOs, right? From your the tips that you have given, right? Some small things, but they are very valuable tips given to NGOs. So thank you so much for sharing with us, and look forward to work with you.
Thank you again for having me. And I think it's a great initiative that we've started as a community to not just keep the knowledge to ourselves, but also to share with people across, so that they can share, they can learn from our expertise, our experiences which we had so far. So thank you again for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.